got some friends, I told her bring them my direction. We can go all night, ay, talking about my life, ay, working until I ain't paid. Put that shit beside me.
Yeah. What's good, y'all? It's your boy, man, Vic Swirl, and I've been waiting to make this video for forever. I literally made a YouTube with the idea of one of my only videos being how to get waves for beginners. But you gotta put that parentheses, like open parentheses for beginners. But it's gonna be like a font print, like the title would be like a 24 font title, and then the other one it'd be like subtitle 8 font, like Times New Roman. But that's besides the point. So we are here to talk about how to get waves. No, when I first decided about making this video, I always ask myself, am I really qualified to tell someone how to get waves? And then I really thought about it. Little wave check real quick. I really thought about it, and considering that a fact that this is just over, like maybe a month over a year's worth of progress, I would say I'm qualified enough to talk about how to get waves. And of course, the easiest, most straightforward answer to the question how to get waves is brush your hair. We're gonna dive deeper into the whole concept of what it means to have waves, but the first thing you gotta do is brush your hair, man. Everything is about brushing your hair. It doesn't really matter if you have a Torino, your Diane, your Annie. You can have whatever brush, any brush is gonna work. As long as you brush your hair, you're gonna get waves. Yes, some brushes are better quality than others. Some brushes last longer, or some brushes may work better for some textures of hair. For coarse hairs, I heard coarse hair wavers have a preference for royalty rather than Torino, whereas straight hair wavers have a preference for Torino curves rather than royalties. It's all depending on your perception and your texture of hair. There's 3 textures of hair. The textures of hair are qualified, at least for wavers. It's 3 textures. The first texture being coarse hair wavers, right here or something. Coarse hair wavers, they have really, really tight waves where the curl pattern is much, much shorter. Like, let's say this is their hair length. The curl will be like, let's say this tight for a coarse hair waver, right? Coarse hair wavers have really tight waves, and they can keep their hair at a lower length in order to see their waves compared to other textures of hair. Second texture of hair, medium hair wavers. Medium hair wavers have in between straight and coarse hair wavers. Medium texture is like, it's not too coarse, but it's not too straight. Like, I would consider myself a medium texture waver because my waves aren't too big like a lot of straight hair wavers, but they aren't too small like a coarse hair wavers. They're not as thin. Then I already touched on them. The third texture of waves is a straight hair waver. Straight hair waver has curls about this long. Each curl is about this long. So it's like each texture has to have their hair at a different length in order to have their waves at the pristine curl length. And the curl length is just when your hair is grown out to the perfect curl, to the perfect length where the curls are way more dominant and show way more show way better than if they're at any other length. For example, coarse hair wavers, like they can go down. If you really want to talk about it, they can go down to a 1 or 1.5, one open or 1.5 close. Like, I have a friend who's a coarse hair waver, and when I cut his hair, I cut his down to a 1.5 with the grain, and that keeps his waves in the most pristine condition they can be in, because his curls are not super duper tight, but tight enough where he's able to be considered a coarse hair waver. The waves are tight, so I'm able to cut it down with a 1.5 with the grain and call it a day. His waves look dope. I would say a medium texture waver could go from a 1.5 open to a 2 open. That's like where I keep my range of medium texture wavers, because I feel like anything above a 2 open is a straight hair waver. Like a 3 guard closed, that's a straight hair waver. My brother's considered a straight hair waver, and he cuts his hair down to a 3 closed because his wave things you need to do in order to get waves. Of course, the first thing is brush. You brush, you keep that hard work and consistency, you're gonna get your waves. But let's dive deeper into the idea of brushing. When you brush, you need to gain your connections, and connections is when, like, where's a good spot to have connection? The back of my head, right? My connections are real good in the back because it's just a wave and then another wave and then another wave. It's all lines going straight into my crown because I got 360 waves with a swirl, so my waves go straight into the crown. Whereas some people have beehive where all the waves just come straight out. But connections is not where one wave isn't crashing into the other, and I have great connections in the back, so my waves are just going straight into my crown. No indents or no places where they're going into other waves. But in order to gain those connections, you need to know your brushing angles. Every waver has their own brushing angles depending on how your hair grows. Like some wavers, their crown is going counterclockwise, whereas mine is going clockwise towards the center, towards my right. Where some wavers have their crown going clockwise, spinning the other way. But some wavers just have their angles straight all the way around. For me, my brushing angles, for example, on the top, I brush at a diagonal, at a slight slant. Everything here, I kind of brush straight down. The back, I brush at a super slight angle. And then my left side, I brush straight at a 90-degree angle, straight ahead. Once you know these brushing angles, your connections will come in. You will barely have, of course you're not have forks in the beginning because you're training your hair to get into your wave pattern. You're training your hair to adjust to because waves are just laid down curls. So you're training it to lay down in a certain way you want it to lay down. You know, once you it's brushing, you gotta stay consistent. You can't brush one day, skip. You know, I'm gonna take a break. I brush my hair Monday, I'm gonna take a break Tuesday, maybe brush again Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how I feel. You gotta brush at least an hour a day. It's not really about what products you use. It's just about the fact you brush. And of course, you gotta lay your hair down with a do-rag, right? More specifically, I would do I say stick with silk. So your hair has a tendency to stick with the type of, like, imitate what you put on his head. So if you're putting a polyester do-rag on your head all the time, your hair is gonna end up being dry because the polyester is gonna absorb all the moisture. Whereas if you keep a silk do-rag on, not only do you look cool because you know it's a shiny do-rag off rip, your hair imitates that silky texture that is being compressed with. The do-rag is for compression. To keep your hair, it's almost like a video game. You brush in, you put all that hard work in, then you use your do-rag to save the progress. You save and quit. Throwing your do-rag on, now you don't gotta brush and worry about how your waves is looking. You brush and call it a day. You could just throw your do-rag on like me to save my progress. You know, I take my waves. Some say a little too serious, but I take my waves super serious. Where when I play basketball, I got a do-rag on, like, because I want to save my progress and I don't want to have to go home and do this heavy washing style. Go watch if you don't know what a washing style is, go watch my third video on my channel. It's called the washing style, my bounce back method that I always use when my hair ends up not being laid down and compressed the way it should be. The washing style is what I use. It's my method to always bounce back from whatever happened to my hair. So for me to talk about other than that, step 1. Brush your hair for at least an hour a day. Doesn't matter what brush you use. Brush your hair for at least an hour a day. 2, tie your do-rag and use the compression. Preferably a silk do-rag so your hair doesn't dry out. Oh, third, know your curl length. You need to know your curl length in order to get your hair cut at the right angle, the right guard, so your waves show out the best. Get products that work for you. And that's about it. I don't really got much else to say. I mean, I'm gonna go into a video. I'm gonna be making future videos about how to keep your hair moisturized, breaking forks and building connections, building depth in your wave. We're gonna get into all of that. That's my time, y'all. I hope y'all learned something from this video. Remember, I'm gonna be making more videos elaborating on everything I spoke about today. We just went into a little, like a TED talk. You know, I just was here to talk what I had to talk about waves. You know, I had to finally get it off my chest and really give it out to the public. So remember, man, stay hungry, stay working. Especially if you're getting waves, you gotta stay working. Gotta stay working with that brush work all the time. Stay working. And of course, man, the most important thing you gotta do is stay happy, dude. Yeah. I'll holla at y'all.
Psst, guys, psst. I was gonna end the video right there, but then I decided, you know, what the best way to teach the show. And so, you know, what I want you to do right now is, if you're waving, grab your brushes, grab your favorite brush right now. We're gonna put in a brush session. Let's get it. Hey, yeah. She been on the grind, so I don't never sweat her. I've been working overtime, but man, I just can't forget her. She got money on her mind, and she don't keep vendetta. She gon' let you feel the time that you wasted tryna get it. Yeah. I've been looking for someone, I got options, but I know someone like you, they ain't topping. Wanna know what's going on inside? Tell me, girl, what's it gonna be? I know you got options on the line, but I promise they gotta know me. I said, you keep me guessing, got me upside down, ay. You keep me guessing, got me upside down, ay. I know you want me cause I'm up right now, I get up right now. Girl, I see you creeping cause I'm up right now. Now you stuck, ay. Now you stuck right now. Girl, I see you down looking up right now, yeah. Girl, I know you want it, ain't nobody business, ay. Pull up in a Rari, girl, just hop up in it, ay. Long as we stay rollin', we ain't never trippin', ay. For them bitches talkin', tell them keep the distance. Oh my. Long as I got you, I don't need nothing on the side, that's my baby, ay. What we doing for the night? We get lost in the sky. Slow it down, girl, you got me upside down, upside down. She been on the grind, so I don't never sweat her. I've been working overtime, but man, I just can't forget her. She got money on her mind, and she don't keep vendetta. She gon' let you feel the time that you wasted tryna get it, yeah. I've been looking for someone, I got options, but I know someone like you, they ain't topping. Wanna know what's going on inside? Tell me, girl, what's it gonna be? I know you got options on the line, but I promise they gotta know me. I said, you keep me guessing, got me upside down, ay. You keep me guessing, got me upside down, ay. I know you want me cause I'm up right now, I get up right now. Girl, I see you creeping cause I'm up right now. Now you stuck,